The reason I'm making this video, I recently received a gift, a bottle of whiskey, which is fantastic. But received this Balvenie 14 rum cask finished single malt whiskey. Pretty sure it's a great bottle for single malt lovers, but I'm a bourbon lover. For $90, there's probably hundreds of other bottles I'd rather get or enjoy more. So this video is for a gift guide of whiskeys that you should give to a bourbon lover that they will absolutely enjoy, and it'll be great for you and great for the person who received it. So watch this video and get that list. Welcome to Whiskey Make. My name is David. Number one rule, don't be like that guy that got me a single malt to a bourbon guy. Find out what type of whiskeys that person absolutely enjoys. Now, they might enjoy all of them. Bourbons, rye, single malts, blended scotch, Japanese, the whole 9 yards. But they might be like me, which I absolutely love bourbons and rye, and I'm not really that into single malts or any other type of whiskeys. It's like a person who loves seafood and doesn't like steak. It's like getting them a really, really good steak, even though they would rather get, a really good salmon or, scallops or shrimp. And so it's very important to find out what type of whiskey to get that person. How do you find out? Ask them. People who love whiskeys, maybe bourbons, single malt, they don't stop talking about it. So you just ask them, hey, what's your favorite drink? You'll get that information. So make sure you get the right type of bourbon or right type of whiskey so you don't become that guy. Oh, and the second thing you should do, or don't do in this case, is buy them these standard wonderful bottles, but don't buy them. Don't give them. Buffalo Trace, Old Forester 100s, Russell's 10, Maker's Mark. Rare breed. I can go on and on. The reason, they're not memorable. I already have bottles and probably backups of these. And if you give another gift, it's just gonna be another backup. And yes, will I drink it sometime? Sure. But it'll absolutely not be memorable. I would have no idea who got me this or who got me that. It'll just be something I drink. So my list will have sort of out of the box and really out of the box picks that a bourbon lover will absolutely enjoy and absolutely remember that you gifted them. And the second thing you shouldn't do, and actually the most important point, so important that the file got corrupted, and so I'm just quickly trying to re-record, and that's why it's going to be different. I'm going to look different than any other part of the video, is do not ask your big box liquor store employee their recommendations for a bourbon gift or even a whiskey gift. Do not go to Total Wine & More, do not go to BevMo, do not go to your local liquor store and ask the employee. The reason, most likely, not always, but most likely they will point you to their whiskey or bourbon that they either need to move or that makes them the most profit. So Total Wine is the most popular or most famous for this, or infamous, I guess, in a sense. Some of the whiskeys will be right here. They will point you to those. And they're okay. Some of them are okay. Some of them are decent, but they're horribly overpriced. And they're some of the worst gifts I ever had. So please, you're in the right place. Get any of the bottles on my list. They'll be 100 times better than what they will recommend. So please do not ask them. The list is going to include findable, not too allocated bottles at suggested retail price. So it's not going to include the Eagle Rares, the Blatons, the E.H. Taylors, the Stag Juniors, etc., or bottles of that ilk, because even though they'll make an absolutely great gift, they're really hard to find at a reasonable price. So my list is going to be split into 3 categories: below 50, between a 50 and 100, and above 100. And in those categories, I'm going to have probably 3 bottles within what I call safe picks or slightly out of the box, and 2 picks that's out of the box or might be really out of the box. The reason, I don't want to be boring. I don't want you to give that bourbon lover another Wild Turkey Rare Breed or a Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. Those are great, but as I mentioned in the beginning, they're not memorable. I want your gifts to be memorable, something that maybe they even haven't tried or they haven't had it in a long time. So hopefully this list will be a great gift guide for you. All right, finally, onto the list. All right, first bottles, under $50, safe picks, or maybe slightly out of the box, or even slightly in the box. All right, first bottle, our first category, Jack Daniel's Bonded and Jack Daniel's Bonded Rye. I just count this as one bottle, one category. Both are $30. Both are absolutely fantastic, but both have kind of been overshadowed by their big brothers. So when this came out a couple of years ago, it won Whiskey of the Year, I think on a magazine or so, and it was all a fad. But then the Jack Daniel's barrel proof single barrels came out, and everyone, all the bourbon lovers went to that and forgot about the Bonded. Same thing with the Bonded Rye. Came out this year. I absolutely enjoyed it. I think this is my second bottle already. But then about the same time, the barrel proof single barrel rye came out from Jack Daniel's, and that got all the love. So all the bourbon lovers kind of forgot about this. So if your budget is below $50, if you get one of these bottles for your bourbon lover, not only will they enjoy it, but they'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot about these. There's a lot of bourbon lovers I know that hasn't had the Bourbon Rye, and they're fantastic, or haven't had the Bonded since it first came out 2 years ago. So these will be a little bit out of the box, and again, kind of memorable, especially for a $30 bottle. Second bottle, Maker's Mark 46, the regular. Now, I have the cask strength up there. It's kind of like the Bonded. The 46 got outshadowed because once the cask strength came out last year, all I do is get the 46 cask strength. And I haven't had the 46 regular in a couple of years, but I remember them being pretty good. And for about $40, it's a great gift to a bourbon lover because just like me, most likely they'll have the cask strength, but they won't have the 46, and they'll be like, hey, I haven't had this, and they'll absolutely enjoy it. And the next one, again, another one, I don't have a bottle. I finished it. I keep on forgetting to buy it. The Bardstown Origin Series Bottled in Bond, coming in around $48. Absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best bottled in bonds out there, especially for under $50. And it's something that a lot of bourbon lovers haven't gotten into yet, which is the Bardstown Origin Series in general. Either it be their Kentucky Straight Bourbon, or their Rye, or in this case, the Bottled in Bond. So even if they do have a bottle, they usually are running out of it like me. And it's something that most or a lot of bourbon lovers haven't had yet. So it's a good bottle, it's at a good price. Next bottles are kind of out of the box, and it'll be a lot of fun for that bourbon lover. All right, first, 2XO American Oak, coming in around $47. Very interesting bottle because it feels like it's younger whiskey, but it was finished with white American oak spirals. So it gives you, you do get that little bit of the younger corn grain taste, but then it kind of gets balanced out by the oaky, you know, the finish. So you get the sweet corn, and then you get the oaky, and you get this, it's a very interesting mix. It's a very interesting bottle, and it's a good bottle. I mean, I already finished half of it. And the next bottle, the Green River Kentucky Straight Bourbon. I don't have a bottle of it, but it's about $30 to $35 depending on where you go. And the reason I say this is kind of an out-of-box gift because they're not really well known, but they're getting pretty good reviews. But just like me, most bourbon lovers just don't pull the trigger. A, it's lower proof, and B, it's not that well known. So if you get this bottle for them, most likely A, they will never had it, and B, it's something that they heard of and they always wanted to try. The next category, between $50 and $100. Now, as the prices go up, allocation might go up a little bit. But again, in my area at least, if you do a little searching online and or just go to a couple of places, you'll be able to find most of these bottles at retail price. So first bottle, Larceny Barrel Proof, any batch. The reason I say now this is a little bit out of the box, or even, you know, maybe at the edge of the box, even though they're very popular and most bourbon lovers have had it, they've been really overshadowed by the Logic Craig Barrel Proof recently, especially the C923 batch, which came in at 13 years and 7 months. And everyone's searching for that. And so the Larceny Barrel Proofs have taken a back seat. So, and just like me, because of that, I haven't got a batch in 2023. It's a backup of one of my favorites, the C922, but I mean, I would like to try the Larceny Barrel Proofs in 2023, but all my funds went to Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. And so I think if you give this to your bourbon lover, they would absolutely enjoy it, and they would actually appreciate it because every batch is slightly different, and you'll probably get them a batch that they don't have. The next bottle on the list, Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond, coming in at $60. This is a well-known bourbon within the bourbon enthusiast community, but you're not really 100% into it. They might not know what this is because it's kind of a new brand that took off this year, and it just came to the West Coast, I think a couple of weeks ago. This is a really cool bottle, it's delicious, and it actually is really transparent. It gives you information about when it was distilled, when it was bottled, what floor it came from. And I had a pour, and it was fantastic. So the moment it came on the shelf here, I bought it. Next bottle, Bill Bourbon, batch number 35, coming in around $85 to $90. I don't have a bottle of it. The reason is, it's pretty new. Second, it's very popular. Third, it's $85 to $90. So I've had their previous batches, I think 32, 30, 26. They've been really delicious. But because they're very similar, like I have their New Year's up there, and I have their other, I have their Vantage and Seagrass, it ends up that it's something that I don't get because I just can't keep investing $85 to $90 every time they come out with a release. I'd like to try it. I'd like to have it, but there's other whiskeys that I've, chosen instead. So, but I got it as a gift. It'd be great. It's like, I received candles that's $80. I'm like, bro, just get me a nice bourbon, right? So it's one of those things where it might not be something that I would buy myself, but as a gift, why not? It'd be fantastic. Right, next two bottles, slightly out of the box. First one, ASW Fiddler Georgia Hotwood, preferably a store pick, coming in around $80 to $90. The reason, it's a delicious bottle. Second, ASW isn't as well known as the other big brands, and so most bourbon enthusiasts still won't have a bottle of this because they're not willing to invest $9 into something they don't know. And third, the store pick. The store pick is cool because even if I had this bottle, unless you got that exact store pick from that exact store, it's gonna be a different experience. So I got this from Mr. K's, but if you get a store pick from, let's say, Total Wine and More, or from a different liquor store, I'm gonna have a different experience. So you just can't go wrong with getting this bottle for that bourbon lover. If you're enjoying this content, please push that like button. It really does help me out. And if you subscribe, it'd be really cool. All right, next bottle, Joseph Magnus Murray Hill Club, coming in around $95. The reason, it's overshadowed by the famous Joseph Magnus cigar blend, and the regular, Joseph Magnus comes in around $90. So most people get either the regular Joseph Magnus or the cigar blend, which comes in around $200. And this kind of gets forgotten. So a lot of my bourbon friends don't even have this or even never tried it, but I absolutely love this bottle. And when they tried it, they loved it too. So if you give them as a gift with this bottle, you'll be a hit. And as a bonus category within the $50 to $100, store picks, especially from Old Forester, Russell's Reserve, Elijah Craig, or Four Roses. Now, they might be allocated in some areas, but one of these store picks are usually available within some of these smaller or even bigger liquor stores. They might not all be available, but some are. And so, if they have the Old Forester, just get the Old Forester. If they have the Russell's Reserve and they don't have the other three, just get the Russell's Reserve private selection. You just can't go wrong. And as I mentioned with ASW, the cool thing about these single barrels are that unless you get the exact same single barrel, the exact same store that the bourbon lover has, they're gonna get a different experience. And that's why I love collecting these single barrels, because I get a slightly different experience every time. Kind of cool. It's kind of cool to go through that. All right, the last category, over $100. It's first bottle, Calumet 16. I don't have a bottle of it today, I finished mine and it's just, I haven't been able to replace it because it's expensive. It's between $130 to $150. And it's a great bottle. And I would like to have it. It'd be a great, if I receive that as a gift, it would be wonderful. But because, I'm gonna, have to do this channel and I like to try new things, I'm keep buying more new stuff. But if I receive the Calumet 16 as a gift, it'll be wonderful. And I'm pretty sure that's like that with a lot of bourbon enthusiasts. They got the Calumet 16 2 years ago or last year. They enjoyed it. They finished it. They probably haven't replaced it. So if you give them as a gift, they'll absolutely appreciate it. Next bottles, 4-Gate. Any of them. Right here, maybe in the picture. The reason, they're $180 to $250. I heard they're fantastic, but I haven't been able to pull the trigger yet because I never tried any of them. But if you Google or YouTube search 4-Gate reviews, 95% of them are absolutely saying that it is fantastic. So if I received that as a gift, man, I would love you. And so that probably goes the same way for the person receiving it from your end. So if you get one of those, you gift it to that bourbon lover, they will love you. Next bottles, Old Carter. Any of them. I got the American, got the Kentucky straight whiskey, but you can get their bourbon, you can get their rye. It all works. Mary and Sherry Carter just blends these so well. Now these come around $200 to $250, sometimes even up to $300 in some places. So make sure that again, they love their bourbons. And they, because if you get this for a single malt or Scotch lover, they're not going to appreciate it as much as somebody who loves bourbons. And I know it's expensive. Again, $250 is very, very expensive. But for someone who deserves these kind of gifts, you can't go wrong with an Old Carter. Next two are out of the box. The first one actually comes in a box. It's going to be the 4 Roses tasting kit of their 10 recipes of their barrel proofs. The picture right here. Comes in, depending on where you get it, from between 110 to 130. And it involves all 10 recipes that 4 Roses produces. Now, as a bourbon lover, I would love to try that. But it's not something that I would get like personally. But as a gift, you can't, most bourbon lovers not only love 4 Roses, I told you about the 4 Roses single barrels, but to get all 10 recipes in a single box, it's kind of cool. And again, it's already boxed up, so it's easy to gift up or wrap up and gift to that bourbon lover in your life. And the next one that I would love to try, but I never got to, and I heard so many good things, Nashville Vera Company, aged above 8 years, single barrel store picks. They range from 130 to 160, and from like Stuff and Whiskey absolutely loves their Nashville Vera Companies. A lot of my bourbon friends rave about them, but I just haven't been able to pull the trigger. So would I love to give them as a gift or get them as a gift? Of course. And second, again, most of these are single barrels. So even if it's a Nashville Vera Company person who loves it and has a lot of it, unless they have the exact same pick from the exact same store, it's gonna be a different experience. So Nashville Vera Company, aged at least 8 years. There's some that's 6, 7 that comes in a little bit under 100. But from what I hear, those are not as good and they're not really worth the money. You rather invest a little bit more and get the 8, 9, 10-year-olds, which are fantastic. Those are a lot of bottles and those are a lot of options. So hopefully one of them will fit your budget and the category and you'll be able to find one of those bottles to give to that bourbon lover in your life. I absolutely guarantee they will enjoy it. If they don't, well, just ship it to me. I'll enjoy it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.